What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here, and welcome to our daily show where we discuss the fourth stimulus check update, daily news, what's going on with the United States, what's going on in Washington, D.C., what's going on with our economy, investing, pretty much everything you need to know about. Remember, new videos come out here on our show every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There is a lot going on here, especially as the U.S. House of Representatives is coming back from their recess or their state work period where they go back to their states to work in their states, because remember, they literally can't work in Washington, D.C. 365 days a year. They had gone back to work in their states while the Senate was working on the stimulus package and the infrastructure package. The Senate is now done with their portion of the infrastructure package and the stimulus package. Both of those packages are now moving on to the House of Representatives. So the House is now coming back from their state work period or their recess, whatever you want to call it. And it'll now be going through the voting process of that this week. We'll be talking about that in this episode, as well as what's going on with our country, what's going on with our economy, and a lot. So let's jump right in. We got a lot to talk about. Also, thanks so much for giving these videos a like. You guys are literally the best community on YouTube. So let's jump right in. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has backed Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell's reappointment to his position. Multiple people with knowledge of the situation have told Bloomberg. Janet Yellen has talked to senior White House officials to cast her support for Jerome Powell, news sources have said, who would likely be voted through by both Democrats and Republicans. Imagine that, Democrats and Republicans agreeing on anything. Jerome Powell was appointed by former President Donald Trump in 2018, and former President Obama appointed him to the Fed in 2012. Sources said that the White House has broadened its candidate search and has been looking at public comments and views on the labor market from potential nominees. Two sources said there could be hesitancy to cause big changes at the Fed due to uncertainty in the Delta variant and causing changes in the market. President Biden is likely to make a decision on who should fill the Federal Reserve Chairman position around Labor Day weekend, sources said, according to Bloomberg. Border Patrol has seized thousands of falsified vaccine cards in Tennessee. This is just one of dozens of falsified vaccine cards that have been seized. Thousands of reports in Tennessee alone. This has been going on in numerous locations across the country, also coming in through the Mexico border and through China as well, as this is a growing problem as vaccine hesitancy from people who don't want to get the vaccine are basically trying to get falsified vaccine cards. And while policing these fake vaccine cards has burdening the restaurants, and especially in New York City and other areas that are requiring a vaccine identification, as the FBI warns of a booming black market for fake vaccine cards or identification. Mayor Bill de Blasio warns of these fake cards, and there can be potential thousands of dollars in fines if you are caught with a fake card. The state of Mississippi sees 20,000 students quarantined in the first week of school alone from virus cases. Wow. Just one state. You can see here more than 20,000 Mississippi students are in quarantine after they were exposed to the virus during the first week of school. Quote, when you look at a number like 20,000 students that are in quarantine on any given week, that exceeds what we've experienced when we were at our previous peak for the impact on our schools, says state epidemiologist Paul Byers told reporters on Wednesday, according to NBC News. The state health department said 5% of all Mississippi students were already in quarantine as of Friday. just at the end of the first week of school, which reportedly saw more than 4,500 students testing positive for the virus just after 1 week of school. Let me know if you have children or if your children have children. Are you worried about sending them to school? Or are you not so worried because, there is a 98 or 99% survival rate? Or if you not that worried about it, or are you worried about it? I know a lot of people have very, very different opinions on it. A lot of people think, if you catch it, you'll survive. But a lot of people are very, very concerned about this. Let me know your thoughts on this. And we're seeing this difference of opinion around the world. As you can see here, there's a full-blown lockdown in parts of Australia. Hundreds are just arrested in an anti-lockdown protest in Australia. Parts of Australia have been in lockdown, full-blown lockdown for weeks. You can see here, Australia police have arrested more than 250 people on Saturday during an anti-lockdown protests across the country. Residents of Sydney and its home state of New South Wales were placed under extended virus stay-at-home orders earlier this month as a result of a record number of daily infections in the area. On Saturday, many people protesting the lockdowns and stay-at-home orders in multiple cities in Australia were arrested after altercations with police officers. One of the most dangerous protests took place in Melbourne. 7 police officers were reportedly injured following the clashes, and more than 4,000 people showed up to protest in Melbourne. And police released pepper spray into the crowds as a means to prevent demonstrators from breaking police lines. Police told Reuters that they arrested 218 people in Melbourne alone and issued 236 fines for breaking public health orders to quarantine at $3,900 fines each. Ouch. Yeah, that's the opposites of a stimulus check. Ouch. $3,900 each. And Australia is not the only place in quarantine or in lockdowns. Millions are under lockdown again in China. There's over 20 different cities in full-blown lockdown because of the Delta variant. New Zealand just extended its national lockdown as well, as more cases were identified as of yesterday. Just extended a national lockdown as well. And the question is, could the United States be due for another lockdown some point in the future? You can let me know your thoughts in the comments. Some people think this could happen. Some people think this could never happen. But the reality of it is there are lockdowns happening in multiple different countries across the world right now, literally happening this very day. And well, you can see how many new cases we have per day. Yesterday, almost 200,000 people tested positive, according to Google. 199,606 people tested positive yesterday alone. And over 98% of the cases are the new Delta variant. So pretty much the original strain that the vaccine was made for is pretty much gone. Almost all the cases are now the new Delta variant. And this 199,000 people that tested positive yesterday does not even include people that get at-home tests. You can now go to CVS or Walmart and get an at-home test, and those are not even included in this number, because if you go get an at-home test and test positive, well, those numbers aren't reported to authorities or anybody. So the actual real number of people that are testing positive is actually a lot higher than this. It could be 200 and some thousand, because again, if you get an at-home test, nobody even knows that you tested positive. And you can see the daily average is 145,000. A few days ago, on August 16th, we actually had 259,000 people test positive. And just for comparison, so yesterday on August 20th, we had 199,000 people test positive. If we go back to August 20th, a year ago, we had only, in parentheses there are quotations, 46,000 people test positive. So a year ago, we had 46,000 people test positive. In comparison now, we had about 200,000 people test positive. So we literally have more than 4 times more people testing positive every single day now. Yeah. And don't forget, this is with 70% of the United States being vaccinated with at least one shot of Pfizer and Moderna and Johnson and Johnson. 60% of the United States is considered fully vaccinated with two shots of Pfizer and Moderna, and of course, one shot of Johnson and Johnson. But the question is now, fully vaccinated might not even be a term anymore, because now the third shot is coming out, and the possibility of annual shots or yearly shots might be on the horizon. That's a possible thing, that it could be like the flu shot, where it could be an annual shot or a yearly shot. So really, with rising cases and in some cases, dining indoors being restricted and mask mandates coming back, schools being very restricted in some cases, mask mandates coming back in a lot of schools. We're seeing in-person dining being shut down in some parts of the United States. Will we see partial lockdowns where like you won't be able to dine indoors in some parts of the United States? I mean, definitely we're going to see mask mandates come back before we see lockdowns. I think that the United States is very, very hesitant to lockdown. I mean, especially, I mean, we have Republican governors that are literally banning masks and banning vaccine mandates. So, I mean, if they're banning masks, you know for sure they're not going to allow lockdowns. So we have a very, very difference of opinion here. We have some people that are just can't wait to get a third shot, and some people that don't even want to get a first shot. They're like, I'll never get a shot. You can just see the difference of opinion here. It's just some people just, they have totally, totally difference of opinion. We have some Republican governors that are banning masks, banning vaccine mandates. And then on the other hand, we have some people saying, go get your third shot immediately. Some people that were actually getting third shots, basically saying, I've never been vaccinated, even before their third shots were available. So again, it's just a very, very difference of opinion. And again, when you have millions, hundreds of millions of people in the United States, very, very difference of opinion. So this next stimulus package really can't come fast enough, as our economy is really, really on the brink. Remember, retail sales for July were actually down. People were actually spending less money in July. So again, the economy is really on the brink, and with new cases going up and people being even more scared to go shopping, more scared to spend money with a potential lockdown, potential, oh, hey, we might not be able to go to restaurants, all this potential stuff on the horizon, this next stimulus package can't come fast enough. The good news about that is, as you can see here on this headline, the House returns to Washington next week to forge ahead with the infrastructure bill and the budget plan, or the budget reconciliation plan, which is, you guys know it as the $3.5 trillion stimulus plan. So the infrastructure bill, which is part one, and the social infrastructure bill, which is part two, the next stimulus package, part one, part two. Remember, they're going to be working on both of these side by side in the House now. So the Senate is kind of done with everything that they can work on. They literally can't work on either of the bills anymore. So they have now gone on to recess, or what you would consider their state work period. They go back to their states and now work in their states. Because again, if you're from New York or from California or from Texas or from Iowa, you have to go back to your states to work occasionally. You can't just stay in Washington, D.C. and never work in your state and work with your own people. So they have now gone back to their own states. They're going to be working with their own states for a couple weeks, because again, they're done with both the bills. And the House is actually coming back from their recess or their state work period on Monday. And they actually could start voting as early as Monday, from what I have read. You can see here the chamber aims to hold a vote to advance the bipartisan infrastructure bill and the Democrats' $3.5 trillion spending plan and voting rights legislation, followed by a passage of a budget resolution that unlocks the reconciliation process. That might be a little bit small for you to read, but I just read it for you. So yeah, I mean, that's why I always say the recess or the state work period, when they go back to their states to work, is never a big deal. They're coming back on Monday to start working on this, and we're going to be getting a lot of details on what is going to be happening here with the infrastructure package and the next stimulus package. So it's actually going to be a very exciting time here. And really, with the economy kind of crumbling, I mean, we're supposed to be on an economic rebound. Okay, everything is supposed to be getting better. Everything is supposed to be, and we haven't seen that. Okay, we've seen unemployment kind of go up and unemployment kind of go down, and unemployment kind of go up and unemployment kind of go down. And that's even with them ending the unemployment bonus money. So you would think, oh, the unemployment bonus money's gone, and for sure, everything, unemployment should just skyrocket. I mean, if the unemployment bonus money's gone, then everybody should just rush back to work. And that's not really what has happened. We actually seen unemployment go down 1 month, and then it ticked back up, and then it's kind of gone down, and it's kind of done this, right? And retail sales has done the same thing. Retail sales actually went down last month. Basically, sales for the entire country, retail sales actually went down by 1.1%. Now, during an economic recovery, I mean, we're coming out of, basically last year's lockdown and a depression or a recession. I mean, retail sales should be going like this. It should not be going down. So, I mean, that just goes to show you that our economy is really on the brink right now. It's very, very shaky right now. And this next infrastructure package and this next stimulus package is a very, very neat thing. Remember, the 2008, 2009 recovery took 4 to 5 years to get us back to normal. And that was without a virus hindering us along the way. And unfortunately, this virus is getting worse. I mean, 2 months ago, we were at 5 to 10,000 cases a day. Virus cases literally went like this. And we're like, oh my God, thank God, everybody's getting vaccinated. It's going to be over. Cases went from 300,000 to like nothing. But the problem is then this Delta variant came along, and it's twice as contagious, the CDC says, as all the other variants. And it doesn't look like it's really more deadly, but it's more contagious. So it's just spreading like wildfire. And the problem is the vaccine was made for the original variant, just the original virus that really isn't even around very much anymore. The Delta variant makes up over 98% of cases. So I really wouldn't be surprised if sometime in the future we see a new variation of the vaccine made for the Delta variant. But the real question is by the time that comes out, will we see a more dominant variation of the virus? We do have other variations out right now, like this other virus variant called the Lambda variant. But the Delta variant is the one we have to all worry about now. That's the one that makes up over 98% of cases. And that's the one that's twice as contagious. That's the thing that's kind of made our cases spike up, because it's twice as contagious, so it's making it kind of spread to everybody. And the problem is when it's twice as contagious and it infects everybody, that's what's making it basically spread, to twice as many people, and it's making the infection rate go up. So where the future holds us, if there's more lockdowns, more infections and everything, well, only time will tell. So I'll keep you up to date on everything. Make sure to subscribe down below. It's completely free to do so. Remember, new videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can click this top video here to watch my newest stimulus check video next. And this video is how monthly checks are going out in different cities around the country, and how there might be more going out in the near future in various different forms called universal basic income and guaranteed income. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.